Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is w.i.t.c.h.aholic. On this channel, I speak about a lot of things, mostly about my fandoms like Witch. So today I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to do a book review. I plan on doing a lot of these, and also on reviewing kids shows. So the first book series, really, I want to review is Witch. That is the word witch with a period after each letter, because it is pretty underrated and not so well known, but it is really awesome. So if you're a mom who wants, your daughters to read something pretty wholesome and entertaining and good without all this ridiculous woke stuff in it, which is a good series. Now, they are graphic novels that they are online. They also are reprinting the issues, but they're only up to arc 6 or 7. The rest of them should be printed eventually. But just know, if you want to get these for your daughter or son, again, it's really aimed at girls, but there are plenty of guys out there who enjoy it. And if your son likes fantasy, you might enjoy this. So just know that you won't be able to get all of them from the bookstore yet, but most of them are out in stores and you could read the rest online. And also, yes, I mean, it is from Disney, so again, it's pretty wholesome, but the characters are teenage girls, so there is a lot of talk about romance. All of them have a boyfriend at one point, so keep in mind, maybe, especially if your daughter is the one, talking about wanting a boyfriend, whatever. Just maybe, talk to her about how, in real life, you really do not need a boyfriend at that age. Even a few years older, you're still a child. There is no need for romance. And, just maybe read the issues with, when they have boyfriends or talking about boy troubles, and point out to her that, these are kids, and that have boyfriends, and it may seem cool, but they are, have problems like communication and stuff, and that when you're kids, you really don't need to worry about. Also, in real life, having a boyfriend could lead to teenage pregnancy. So, yeah, it's still a great series, but maybe, sit down with your daughter and say, they do have boyfriends in the series, and I know it seems cool, but it's not something you need, when you're a kid. Also, about the clothes, yeah, I do like, they do have great outfits, and for the most part, they're pretty modest. They even layer a lot, but yeah, they do wear crop tops a lot, and, in their magical girl forms, the outfits can be quite revealing. So maybe, if your daughter is like at the stage where she wants to wear crop tops and all that, and, and she says, she wants to because that's what makes her comfortable, again, you could use that to show her as an example that you don't need to show your body to be comfortable and pretty. Like, look at all these great modest outfits they have, if we could look for things like that. In general, if you're like a teacher or a principal and Again, your students are just whining about the dress code and this somehow means they have nothing to wear. Again, you can use which to show that yes, you can have outfits that fit the dress code and that are pretty and comfortable. Though, unfortunately, there is no clothing line based on which or any other Disney property, which is such a shame. By the way, I think we should totally ask Disney to have clothing lines based on the properties. So while they can't order outfits like the characters, again, they can use that to get a wardrobe that's good for school and they like, right? Because you could just type into Google blue long sleeve shirt, etc., and get similar outfits. Okay, so now about the series in general. Again, they are graphic novels about 5 girls, Will, Irma, Tarani, Cornelia, and Helen, who find out they are appointed as guardians of the veil, and using the power of the elements. So they're using the classical elements of air, earth, fire, and water, and Will has the heart of Kandrakar, which transforms them. She also has the power of energy. Now, I do have to go to say that plot-wise, again, a lot of it doesn't make sense when you think about it, so just, if your daughter's the type to like, get upset, like, not upset really, but maybe not to enjoy books so much when they don't make sense. There's a lot in here that doesn't make sense when you think about it, but still enjoyable. I actually have so far 3 videos on my channel about how which doesn't make sense, and I'm planning on making a lot more, but it's still pretty enjoyable. So just keep that in mind. Again, if your child is the type not to enjoy books so much if they don't make sense, but it's still enjoyable. If your child happens to be part of a book club, I think this would be a great series to recommend for that, because there's a lot to discuss. So anyway, they do find out from Helen's grandmother that they were chosen to be the guardians of the veil and protect the veil, and because portals are opening through, so their job is to close the portals so evil cannot come to Earth. So they do have a transformation, and that is when they're the most powerful. But when they're not transformed, they still have their powers, but at a weaker level. So that's the plot of the first arc, and then there are 10 other arcs dealing with other magical things, and daily life. So a bit about the girls themselves. Will is like the tomboy, and as I said before, she's the leader. So she is a tomboy, but as time goes on, she dresses more girly. She loves animals, and she moved to Heatherfield with her divorced mother. And Will, I think, is very relatable for a lot of girls. She's like shy, is the new girl, that doesn't have such high self-esteem in the beginning. Then there's Irma, who is my favorite. I think she and Tarani, I think, are the ones most like. Irma is the fun-loving one, always having a joke to crack. She has this like weird rivalry with Cornelia that they just, you know, they like fight a lot and like not really make fun of each other, but like argue, but they're still best friends. I know that's just a part that doesn't get explained. Like it's really funny, like when the two of them argue, but it's like kind of weird. Like why? Like that's never explained, but still funny. She is the guardian of water, so she could control water in all shapes and forms. She lives with her parents and her little brother and her turtle. And yeah, she really is funny. She's the comic relief. She's also the one to misuse her powers, right? So she actually, because when they transform, they are more mature. She uses that to try to get boys to notice her twice. Again, that's a great way to also have a conversation with your daughter if you think she's the type to get worried and anxious about boys liking her and whatever. You can use Irma as an example of like getting boys to like you is not important, and you definitely shouldn't dress a certain way just to get boys to like you, you know? Anyway, that's Irma. Then there's Tarani. She's the smart one, the quiet one and reserved. She has the power of fire, so yeah, you don't want to make her angry. It's really funny. So she, controls fire, in all shapes. She also has telepathy, so she could read minds. And in the beginning, she's able to like have the girls like sort of this telepathic, I don't know how to call it, like a telepathic I guess 5-way phone call, where they could all talk to each other. And in the beginning, like she says, she can't do that for so long, but as time progresses, the powers get stronger. They could talk to each other in their minds, seemingly without her needing to like hook them up, so to say. Again, like this, and their powers in general don't really get explained because they also have a bunch of secondary powers, but again, it's still enjoyable. And then there's Cornelia, the Earth Garden. She's like the stereotypical blonde, fashion loving teenager. Again, even though, again, she argues with Irma a lot and she could seem like uncaring and stuff, especially towards her little sister, she has a soft side. She cares about her friends and her family. So being the Earth Guardian, she could control all plant life and rocks and metals and all that type of stuff. She loves to ice skate and is very good at it. Then finally there's Helen, their air guardian, which is pretty funny because she's Chinese, and the Chinese elemental system doesn't have air, but she's the air guardian, and so was her grandmother when she was a teenager. So that's just very funny. But yeah, so she's the air guardian, so she can control wind in all kinds of way. So yeah, she could blow people away. And one of her powers is that when an object makes a sound, she hears that object's memory. so to speak. So that's really cool. She's the creative one. She also likes fashion. She even sews her own clothes. She's very artsy. She also is an artist. So yeah, she's really talented. She draws, she sews clothes. So she again likes aliens and sci-fi. She's the youngest and the most cheerful of the group. So that's a bit about them. Then there's Elion, who is a friend of theirs and is the lost princess of Metamor. So Elion finds out that she's the lost princess. Now she was brought to Earth to protect her from her evil brother because on the planet Metamor, only the females could rule, and they have the most powerful magic. Her brother Phobos, it's not really said. Presumably it's because he wants to rule Metamor, so he tried to kill her when she was a baby, so she was brought to Earth. Again, his backstory, like a lot of others, isn't explained really, but so anyway, he tried to kill her for her powers, but again, when he sends his servant Cedric to tell her, he lies and has this whole story about how she was kidnapped, which she believes. Not only that, she becomes crazy and tries to kill her friends multiple times. It's just so nonsensical. I could just rant on and on about that. But yeah. So yeah. Again, if your child doesn't really like scary stuff, it can be quite scary. Because again, she literally tries to murder them. And then later at the end, yeah, when they fight Phobos, it could be scary when a lot of times they face death. But there's nothing really gory or anything. But yeah, I guess it could be a bit scary for someone who's sensitive. So that's, the first, this about, some of the main characters. And so the first arc is them learning about their powers and trying, and protecting the veil, right? Then a bit about all the other arcs. The second one is about Nerissa, who used to be the keeper of the heart. And she killed her best friend, so she was imprisoned in a tomb on a mountain. So she gets freed and wants her revenge. The third is about Ari of Arcanta, who is mad because the Oracle refused to heal his son. So he enslaved a banshee. And because of that, somehow he's getting strong enough to overtake Kandrakar. Like I said, a lot of this stuff doesn't really make sense, but whatever. So they have to try to persuade him to not do that. The fourth arc is Phobos, having been defeated and imprisoned in Kandrakar, manages to switch minds with the jailer named Adarno. So again, he's trying to overtake Kandrakar and get revenge. The fifth arc is about Lord Cedric, Phobos' servant, who the Oracle gives a second chance, and he sends him to live on Earth in his bookstore. Because even though he's an alien, he somehow has a bookstore on Earth that has a pretty good business. Again, that really doesn't get explained, doesn't make sense, but whatever. The sixth arc is about this villain. I mean, she's not really villainous as an evil, but she can control these creatures called ringerlings, and she uses them to suck the energy out of teenagers to be young again. Again, like how she has this power isn't explained, especially since she's from Earth. But yeah, the seventh arc is about Dark Mother, who's like essentially a goddess of Earth, and she was an elemental queen who turned evil. So the others fought her, and she ended up on Earth, sleeping under Heatherfield, and then she gets woken up. So this is when the girls, get a new transformation. The eighth arc is about this scientist who has an invention called cold, and that somehow it could make portals into other worlds. So his daughter finds out and gets trapped. Because of that, he blames magic and he wants to destroy all magic, including the witch girls, even though they're the good guys and there's no way he should know about them. But yeah, still interesting, even though it doesn't make sense. They also find out that there's a lot of magical kids on Earth, so the girls have a school to teach them. Though again, it's like I guess they could teach them to control their powers, but it's not like the kids really have elemental powers specifically. But again, the ninth arc isn't really an arc, but that is, some magic. In the beginning, there's this enchantress called Nihila who captures like the representatives of the zodiac, and so she could control the fates of everyone on Earth. And then later, there's a few issues about these boys called the Runics, who have the evil versions of the elemental powers. Which, by the way, this could have been such an interesting arc, but it's just a few issues, and again, their powers aren't really explained, and why they hate Kandrakar and all that is still interesting. Now, the 10th arc, again, isn't really an arc. It's more like stories in their lives. At the end, there's like a few issues that are connecting about, again, about them fighting these random magical villains who are on Earth for some reason. And then the 11th arc is about how they have a choice to give up their powers or stay guardians. But to keep their powers, they have to go take these random tests that, again, like why? It's just really not explained why they need to have tests to prove they could be guardians. And these tests are also so random. But that's what they need to do. Okay, that's my review for Witch. Again, I plan on doing a lot of other reviews of books and TV shows. It really is great, though I do think it should be rebooted, though in cartoon form, because there is a show that is based on the comics, but is really more like an alternate universe. So, while I love the comics, I think people should read them. I do think they should be rebooted, to like make sense. So that's great if any of you could. There are some petitions online if people could start talking about, wanting a reboot, so maybe Disney would do it and do it well, preferably in a TV show, but if they can make comics also, like I think I'd prefer a TV show, but comics would also be good. So that's my review. I probably won't have a video tomorrow, and then Thursday is Yom Kippur, which is a fast day and a holiday. So I'm not sure about Friday, and then next week, Monday night starts Sukkot, which is a holiday that has a few days, I can't use electronics, so I'm not sure when my next video would be out, but probably I'll have one on Sunday or Friday, I'm not sure. Again, if you want more book reviews, please tell me. I do have a lot to review for like kids, like early teens, and a little below that. Again, I have a lot of TV shows I want to review, but they'll probably wait until I get video editing software, which I don't know when that will be. So, yes, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you later.